This is Ikechukwu Ndoku, your host, Diet for Professionals. Our focus today is professionals and their leisure. It is very important you know that your leisure has a positive impact in your career or business. And it is good we know how this leisure affects us and how we can use it to our advantage. Before we go deeply into the topic, let's read a text from the Bible. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 from verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sue, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. Verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate, a time to war and a time of peace. I like the one they say a time to laugh. Of course, leisure time is a fun time, a time to relax, or spend time with loved ones and all that, So it is important we know how to use it to our advantage. Like our focus today, how to engage in a productive leisure. It is good you know that your leisure should be productive, because if your leisure is not productive, it will be destructive. There's a popular Chinese saying that a man's happiest moment, which is also can be termed his leisure time, a time he wants to have fun and enjoy himself, a man's happiest moment is his weakest moment. So you see, if you even check from the Bible, Noah from the Bible, after all the whole stress of building that ark, staying in the ark, then after the flood, he's even tried to make sure that they come back to normal life. He will send a bed, the whole place is still wet, until finally, they got a dry ground and he discovered that the flood has finally left and they started coming out of the ark. After that whole thing, the man wants to rest now and relax. It's his leisure time. It's no longer work time. At least a little time to rest and relax. All those while he had been, trying to do what God told him to do. But you see, that time he took wine and he got drunk. It became his weakest moment. And, one of his sons saw his clothes, naked and all that. So, and some turned their back while some actually, or a particular one looked at it. So the man was at a very vulnerable state. It's like it's that Chinese saying. But we're going to look at the benefits of engaging in a productive leisure before we start talking about how to, because it's important we know how to engage in a productive leisure. First, one of the benefits of productive leisure is what? It protects your life from destructive habits, because you see, most of dangerous habits that destroy people's career or businesses are formed majorly when you need to relax after you have worked out your heart to pull your career and all that. You need to just relax. So somehow you let your guard. You don't put boundaries. Some people forget to put their boundaries, because you see, you need to put your boundaries to protect yourself from all this stuff, so that you will not go out of the confines of your boundary and start engaging in activities that is destructive, that does not promote the habits that actually build your career or success. So if your leisure is productive, it makes you to be focused. You will not engage in activities that will harm you or destroy your career. The second one, it helps you to unwind. Of course, when you relax, when you are not doing a work, you tend to relax because you have exerted a lot of energy. Now you are relaxing. So instead of exerting more and exhausting yourself, rather you are recuperating. It helps you to unwind. Then the third one is what? You revitalize your health. Of course, when you rest, when you are not engaging in work, it has also a benefit in such a way that your body is not being used. So rather, you are what? You are getting back, free. Your health, revitalizing it is very important. So one of the greatest thing that productive leisure will do to your head is to revitalize it. So I would not want to overflog that. The fourth one there is it brings fun to your life. Don't be a dry person. As a professional, one of the things that will remove the wear and tear of your career life or your business life is what? Bring fun to your life. Find a way during your leisure to catch some fun. Catch some fun with friends, family, and what have you. If you do that, your life will extend further. Now the sixth one there, the fifth one there is what? Socialization and networking. One thing that can utilizing your leisure we do is that what it will help you to socialize, because your leisure time is when you have free time to socialize with people. When you are doing your career, when you are doing your business, you might not have all the time to socialize with anybody. But when you have this free time, it's a very good time to socialize. You go to parties, you go to birthday parties, you go to ceremonies, you meet people, and most especially when you socialize, you network. Because you see, you will meet very important personalities when you go to social functions like this, and you introduce yourself. Even sometimes some people who have some answers to your career questions that have been troubling you, these are where you meet great people who have gone ahead of you and all that. So there's a strong networking that happens during leisures that are productively used, especially when you use it to socialize. The sixth one there, evaluation, because evaluation is another time to reflect on what you have been doing with your career, or reflect on the way forward and all that. They says things like this, that it is a sign of insanity when you keep doing the same thing over and over again and you're expecting a different result. So if you want to experience a different result, you need to do it differently. But until you reflect, until you evaluate your success, how will you now be able to pinpoint areas that needs improvement? Then the seventh one there, it will require you for fresh vision. Of course, you see, during your leisure, especially if it's being used productively, is a time where you refire yourself again. Because during your leisure, sometimes you might go on tourism, you might go on, sightseeing, and of course, things like vision are impacted when you see different environment, see things that you have not seen before. Things where you're not used to, you can catch inspiration. Okay, we're going to go quickly to the last part of it, how to engage in a productive leisure. How to engage. One of the first principles to engage in a productive leisure is what? Catching a vision. Someone will get shocked. Why will you catch a vision during your leisure? Very important. Every time must be productively used. Why you see someone use this statement like this: when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. So most times when people don't know the purpose of their leisure, they abuse it. It becomes destructive to them instead of becoming what? Productive. So now, how do you not abuse your leisure? So when you have a vision, it means that what? that leisure time will be used productively. So catch a vision. What is your deliverables? What do you want to see? What is your expected end after this leisure? What are you going to use this leisure? How is it going to add to your life? How is it going to improve your career? Because for me, whatever that is not worth doing is not worth doing at all. But whatever that is worth doing is worth doing well. So if you are going to use a leisure, it has to be productive. For it to be productive, then you must know how it's going to be useful to you, the end product of it. So you need to catch a vision in your leisure. So the second one there, know the time you have. Leisure or the free time you have are in categories. Sometimes it might just be an hour leisure, it might just be few hours leisure. Sometimes too it might be a whole 24 days leisure. Sometimes too it might also be a whole month or even some few weeks. So sometimes you see some, when you work in some corporate organizations, they give you a 1 month leave and all that. So what do you do with your 1 month leave? What do you do with your 1 month leave? So you must know the time you have. So now that you have known the time you have, the third point there is that you now need to plan it out. Because if it is a short leisure, a short time, so you plan it based on the time. You plan it based on it. So planning is good. It helps you to organize your leisure so that it will be productive. So the fourth one there now, you now go proper into what? Engaging in productive activity. Now, before you start understanding how to engage in productive activity, we have to understand there are different leisure types. One of them is what? Social leisure. Social leisure. Social leisure, of course, is, like we have talked briefly, there is, socializing. The leisure that, involves socializing with people, networking, socializing, meeting people, and exchanging. So, for example, some of the activities involved there is things like wedding. That's where you socialize. People are free to talk and exchange pleasantries, exchange contacts, burial ceremony, picnics, social club functions, birthdays, shopping. You might even go to shopping and all that. Then, things like you go to the cinema, you meet people, you socialize and all that. There's another type of leisure, we call it cognitive leisure. Cognitive leisure is, yes, it's a leisure time, but it's also somehow kind of time that you spend, either receiving information or, penning down information or giving out information. For example, like most very great authors, is during their leisure they write one of their best books. So during that cognitive leisure, that's where people engage in writing books, writing journals, writing things, because you need some level of creativity to be able to write books. So, but you need to leave your comfort zone. You need to leave that normal place that you are used to. Maybe you go on a picnic and all that. So when you go there, of course, you can, get some free time to be able to write. Then learning, of course, you see, during people's leisure, during their leisure, sometimes they enroll in certain training so that they can refuel themselves before they go back to their work. Sometimes too, you might be learning even a language. You might need to broaden yourself. Maybe sometimes too, such languages, new languages, can even help your career and boost it. Sometimes too, tourism, sightseeing. Of course, sightseeing has some very reflective and a creative impact it has on you. It has something to do with your cognitive and meditation. So if you meditate, of course, you are going to be reminiscing on certain information or certain happenings, and you try to prune it to see whether you can get more deeper understanding about certain issues. So there are other part of other type of leisure. We'll talk about the physical leisure. That's where people play a sport, get involved in sports, get involved in games, do road work, to help themselves physically. They also go to the gym, or they get involved in indoor games. So this kind of they are physical. It's a kind of a physical leisure. It also has an impact basically on your health and even in your mental well-being. Now the other part of other type of leisure is the rest leisure. This is where you are practically inactive. You might be sleeping. You might also not necessarily sleep, but you might just be sitting one place and be watching video, listening to news and all that, but you are invariably resting. But you are listening to something, you are resting and all that, watching films, listening to music, and sometimes too you might just feel like, some of us like this that like traveling a lot, so you just want to travel, so you just sit down and be traveling and be looking around and all that. Then things like vacation, so someone too might take up a vacation and all that. So it's a kind of form of rest. You take a vacation, go to the Caribbean island, spend time there, just rest. You just want to rest. So that these are ways you can make your your leisure very productive. Ways you can engage in a productive leisure. Now, one good thing about making it wonderful is that if you engage in a productive leisure, you would have maximized those your free time. Instead of that time to be destructive, that time will what? Be productive and still become a factor that will what? Help you succeed or even increase in your success in your career. So this is Ikechukwu Ndukwu, your host, Diet for Professionals broadcast. Thank you for listening, and of course the next one will blow your mind. Share to others so that they can have access to this information. Don't forget, if you have not subscribed to our channel, Diet for Professionals by Ikechukwu Ndukwu. It's been a wonderful time speaking with you. See you next time.